I feel convinced, though I shall not live to see it, that this edition of mine and the translation of Veda will hereafter tell to a great extent on the fate of India and on the growth of millions of souls in that country. It is the root of the religion, and to show them what that root is, I feel sure the only way of uprooting all that has sprung from it during the last 3000 years. By Muller. This is the letter written by Muller to his wife, which mentioned that he was explicitly employed to translate the Vedas in the manner that Hindus will lose faith in them. Max Muller, besides all the 19th century European Indologists, is attributed with translating and revealing the sacred literature of Hindus to the West. He distinctly mentions his intentions that India has been conquered once, but India must be conquered again, and the second conquest must be a conquest of education. Muller firmly believed on the need for Hindu reforms to overlay the Christian views on Hinduism. These all reveal the fact that how desperate was Muller to bring Christianity to Bharat, show that the Sanatan Dharma could be doomed. Not only this, in our own country, the Aligarh Muslim University professor, while his lecture on rape in his class, says that this has been started in our own culture by Brahma to his daughter. Now, not only the general public somewhere, but also the Baba Saheb Ambedkar, the very renowned person who wrote Constitution of India. In his book Riddles in Hinduism, he claims Brahma of raping his own daughter, leading to his status loss of praying worthy, but cites nothing. But then goes on to put the question on Krishna being prayed worthy, as he claims him to be much more immoral than the former. Thus, it wasn't surprising when he again at another point says that Krishna's youth was full of illicit intimacy with the young women of Vrindavan. In the same book, he writes that Sita and Rama both were siblings, both were children of Dashrath. And Rama had many wives in addition to many of his concubines. God knows why did he write all this rubbish. Might be inspired by Muller, or he might be showing some anger to the majorities because of the struggles he has faced in his childhood. To all this, I just want to convey that the entire internet is overflooded with all such rubbish controversies which I even feel ashamed of speaking in front of you. And for the sake of proof, they will just show this quoting from Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran. And since we have neither read any of the Puran or any of the Vedas, we don't know what was written before these lines and what is written after these lines. We'll just see these 2 to 3 lines which they will show, and we'll feel ashamed of our own Vedic text or our own Sanatan Dharma or our own culture. Anybody comes, says anything, and we'll just keep quiet. We feel ashamed of our own self. What is this? But since we all celebrate Basant Panchami, that is Devi Saraswati Puja, so I thought why not to share this with you all, because this was one of the things which always used to rotate on my mind since childhood. See, even in child I was knowing this Brahma Saraswati controversy and nobody answered. Not even the parents or the grandparents, because they even have not read. This has been lost in our culture. Deterioration has not only come in us, deterioration has come in everything. So I thought, why not to refer the ancient texts, learn through teachers, and then bring this in front of you. Let's watch the full video now to know that actually who Devi Saraswati is.
Those who aspire for knowledge, knowing, transcendence, immortality of not the body, but transcending the limitations of the mortal body, they will aspire for that aspect of the feminine which is referred to as the Sattva, or Saraswati is the representative of that, or the moon. This is arranged in this way because it's after all from the earth that we arise. And we could live an active life which is Rajas, the second nature of the Devi. The third one may come your way or may not. If you have to bring her down into you, you have to strive. Otherwise, she will not get down to you. Kali is on the ground, Lakshmi is sitting on a flower. Saraswati is riding a peacock. The Linga Bhairavi has been consecrated with three basic chakras to represent these three dimensions of tamas, rajas and sattva. Tamas is the nature of the earth and she's the one who gives birth. The moment you come out, then you start activity, rajas begins. If you are aware enough or fortunate enough, sattva will touch you, otherwise the color of rajas, it's good as long as the going is good. When the going gets bad, rajas is going to be super bad. Durga Lakshmi, Saraswati never happened. That means you are in the cycle, you're in the trap of life and death, life and death, life and death. Transcendence is yet to come. So these three dimensions of the Devi are enshrined in the form of Bhairavi or Linga Bhairavi. You must be able to draw these three dimensions of existence and sustenance for yourself, because you need all these three.
Now through Sadhguru, one thing is quite sure, that Devi Saraswati is Sattva. She is knowledge. That knowledge which you are taking right now from this video, that knowledge which you take from Sadhguru, and accordingly you perform action, right? Means to perform any action, you need knowledge. She is actually knowledge, not any physical entity. Now before jumping into Brahma Saraswati controversy, let's listen of this shloka of Yajurved, Adhyaya 40, Mantra 8. Saparyagat Shukram Akayam Avrinam Asnaviram Shuddham Apapavidham Pavi Manishi Paribhu Swayambhu Tathagatah Arthan Vyodadat Shashwatibhya Samabhya. Sa He Paryagat all pervading, Shukram bright, Akayam bodiless, Avrinam without wound, Asnaviram without muscles, Shuddham pure, Apapavidham and pierced by evils, Pavi wise, Manishi omniscient, Paribhu transcendent, Swayambhu self-existing, Yatha Tathyat respectively, Arthan function, duties, Vividhat allotted, Saswatibhya eternal. Now this shloka of Yajurved is about the ultimate, that is the Shiva. Now this shloka clearly mentions who is God, who is the ultimate. It mentions that which is not, that which has no body, that which is limitless, that which is eternal, that which does not have any forms, and that which is eternal, self-existing, nobody has given birth. That is the ultimate, that is nothingness. And rest all, whom we pray, whom we do rituals, their shape, forms have been made by us. As for example, Linga Bhairavi, she is in the shape of linga or in the shape of oval. Does this mean that she is some oval-shaped physical entity sitting somewhere? No, it is not like that, right? These all things are made by us so that we can relate to them, so that devotion becomes easy for us. Since we are humans, we recognize God as human so that we can relate to them, we can talk to them, we can become devoted to them. Similarly, Saraswati is knowledge. She is not a physical entity sitting somewhere. Yes, the shape and the form and what she is holding Veena is also written in Puranas, and this is only for us, to make us understand, because we human beings, our experience and our perception is only for body and mind. We can understand only in this language. That's why, to make us understand, these all things have been done. By all these, before jumping into Brahma Saraswati controversy, I just want to convey you that the language of Puranas are metaphorical. That means the words or phrase that is used in an imaginative way to show that something or somebody has the same qualities as another thing. It is not the normal language of conversing. So not everybody could understand if they go into the literal meaning of all these. Except few, majority cannot understand without the guidance of any teacher. Yes, it is written, Brahma married his own daughter Saraswati, and everybody will show you just this cutting from that Puran. Nobody will show you what's written after that and what was written before that. Now see, it is general common sense, right? That we are going to talk about the time when the universe is still not made. Brahma has got this work and still he is in the process of making. Still, till now, no body has been made. Still, till now, no humans are made. This means all these things are happening or talking about before the coming of humans. Where will sex appear in all this? And where will marriage happen as we do? Does this mean the literal marriage? Now it is also written in that chapter that Naradji came from Brahma's lap, Daksh from thumb, Vashisht from pran, Bhrigu from skin, and so on, and Saraswati from mukha of Brahma. Now, of course, if you are someone who is reading Puran for the first time without any guidance, it is general common sense. It is not at all scientific that how one can come through different body parts, right? So this is just a metaphorical language. Means if Daksh has come from thumb, we have to see Daksh as thumb. Thumb means, do you remember that Sati case? That's why it is written that Daksh has come out of thumb. Now to clarify about Brahma and Saraswati, one should be very clear that Brahma created Saraswati. He did not give any bodily birth to Saraswati. If he is the father, who is the mother? Tell me. Nobody, right? Brahma created Saraswati. She was already present, but in an unmanifested form. Brahma manifested her. He brought the unmanifest into manifest. It's just like Isaac Newton is considered as father of physics because he gave laws of motion or gravitation, etc. Does this mean that he gave some birth to this all gravitational forces or the laws of motion? No, right? These all were existing before him. He was the person who discovered all those. And that's why we call him the father. Similarly, Brahma is the creator of Saraswati, and Brahma was assigned the task of manifesting this universe, of creating this universe. And for something to be created, we require knowledge, right? And that is what is said in these lines. Marriage means Brahma has to come in union with Saraswati so that he can manifest this world. He can manifest this cosmos. A union does not mean just sex. The people who have only sex in their mind will only tell about those sex. See, as I already told, we are talking about the time where the universe is still not made. Humans are still not formed. That means body is still not formed. Who will do sex and who will do marriage? Does this mean marriage like we people do? No, it does not refer to as. Marriage means union. And this union was required for Brahma to create this universe. Now the writer of the Purana, he knew that if people will read out of lack of knowledge, they will understand the literal meaning, they will feel ashamed of this. And that's why in the further lines, he also writes that as soon as Brahma got attracted to Saraswati, Mariji also scolded him saying that before you, no other Brahma has done this despicable work. And hearing this, Brahma was utterly shy of himself and he dismantled himself. See how profound our Puranas are. Conveys the message to the general public that the father gets Kam Vasana to his daughter. It is a utterly despicable work. It is the sin of all sins, right? That is why it clearly mentions in the further line. Remember, anything of these has not happened between Brahma and Saraswati, but these all lines are said to convey you this message. Don't undergo on the literal meaning. These all are metaphorical language. And from these lines, one can clearly understand this, that Brahma is not one. Many times Brahma was there. This shows the multiverse concept of universe. This means many times this entire universe or the entire cosmos was dismantled and again it was built. And again this will also get destroyed and again it will be made. And this also means that whoever has power of creation is Brahma and knowledge is Saraswati. Now since in that story Brahma left his work halfway, so Brahma was required because creation was still pending, and therefore now comes another Puran, that is Brahma Vaivarta Puran, in which it is written that Brahma marries Saraswati. And this Saraswati is actually the Saraswati, it is clearly mentioned there, that she comes out of Mukhar Bindu of Vishnu, that she wears white clothes, she holds Veena. This shows she is that Saraswati which you and me see in the general images everywhere along with Brahma. This Saraswati is created by Vishnu, not by Brahma. Brahma Vaivarta Puran also writes this as Brahma is Mana, Gyan is Maheshwara, and Vak Devi or the deity of Vani is Saraswati. So in one hand, the Puranas personify each and everything and give them a akar or a boundary. At the same time, it will clearly mention in every chapter that these all are energies that will time and again get mixed with one another. Don't take the literal meaning. Get mixed with one another. They are not any physical entity who will perform some kind of marriage somewhere that we do. It's not like that. And we have to require a teacher to understand all these. So now ending the video, hope you loved it and I was able to convey this story properly. If you felt some knowledge in this, And if you found it interesting, please do share this with as many people as you want, because internet should be flooded with true information, not some fake information. And we should be proud of our Sanatan Dharma. It is the oldest and also it is eternal too. And with this ending the video, hope you loved it and found it meaningful. And if yes, do not forget to give it a like, share and subscribe. And up to next, stay safe, healthy, happy and namaskaram.